Ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Atlanta, Georgia, it's showtime! Introducing to you first the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner tonight, seeking his third division world title. Wearing white trunks with yellow and silver trim, the young star of boxing from Baltimore and representing his adopted home of Atlanta, Georgia. He weighed in at 139 3/4 pounds with a sensational record of 24 wins, no losses. He has 23 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the popular and acclaimed three-time two-division world champion, the hard-hitting, current and undefeated WBA super featherweight and WBA lightweight champion of the world, introducing Gervonta Davis.
With his trainer, Freddie Roach, wearing red, official weight 145 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 50 victories, including 38 knockouts, with 3 defeats and 2 draws. From Kayumba, Sarangani Province, the former flyweight world champion, former super bantamweight world champion, former featherweight world champion, former super featherweight world champion, former lightweight world champion, former light welterweight world champion, and reigning, defending WBO welterweight champion of the world, the fighting pride of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao.
Imagine a fight where lightning meets thunder, where Manny Pacquiao's blistering speed collides with Gervonta Davis's fight-ending power. One man is a living boxing legend who carved history across 8 divisions. The other is a modern knockout machine who ends nights with a single punch. If these two ever stepped into the same ring, would speed outmaneuver power? Or would one devastating shot rewrite the script? This is the matchup fans dream about but may never see, yet its outcome would shake the entire sport of boxing. Manny Pacquiao represents everything traditional boxing stands for: relentless pressure, non-stop combinations, and a warrior's heart. Gervonta Davis, on the other hand, embodies the new era: patience, precision, and explosive finishing ability. Pacquiao overwhelms opponents with volume and movement, while Tank waits like a predator before striking with brutal force. This isn't just a fight, it's a battle between 2 different generations, 2 different mentalities, and 2 completely different fighting styles. If they ever met, every second inside the ring would be pure tension. As more than a legend, he's an anomaly in boxing history. His success came from a rare blend of explosive hand speed, unpredictable footwork, and relentless aggression. As a southpaw, Pacquiao attacked from angles most fighters never see, darting in and out with lightning-fast combinations before opponents could react. His punch volume was overwhelming, often forcing fighters into survival mode. Even elite champions struggled to time him, because his movement was constant and unconventional. Pacquiao's greatest weapon was not just speed, but his ability to maintain that speed over multiple rounds while applying non-stop pressure. However, Pacquiao's aggressive style also carried risks. He often attacked in bursts, leaving brief openings during exchanges. His defense relied heavily on movement rather than a tight guard, meaning precise counterpunchers could catch him coming in. Throughout his career, Pacquiao showed moments of vulnerability when opponents timed his forward momentum. Against a puncher like Tank Davis, those openings become extremely dangerous, especially if Pacquiao is not his absolute prime. Gervonta Tank Davis is one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing today because of his ability to end fights suddenly. Tank possesses explosive knockout power, elite counterpunching instincts, and a calm patience that separates him from reckless brawlers. Unlike many power punchers, Tank does not chase knockouts. He studies opponents round by round, slowly downloading their timing, habits, and defensive mistakes. Once he finds the opening, the fight often ends instantly, sometimes when it appears he's losing on the scorecards. Tank's biggest strengths are his precision and timing. His left hand is devastating, especially when thrown as a counter or uppercut. His body shots are brutal and often overlooked, breaking opponents down before the knockout comes upstairs. However, Tank is not without flaws. He sometimes gives away early rounds while analyzing opponents, which could be risky against a high-volume fighter like Pacquiao. Additionally, Tank has not faced many elite, fast southpaws with relentless pressure, making this matchup particularly intriguing. At its core, Pacquiao versus Tank Davis is a classic speed versus power matchup. Pacquiao looks to control the fight by winning minutes, outworking his opponent with movement, angles, and volume. Tank looks to win seconds, waiting patiently for one mistake that changes everything. Pacquiao overwhelms fighters over time. Tank ends fights in moments. That contrast defines the entire fight. In the early rounds, Pacquiao would likely start fast, using his footwork and hand speed to keep Tank on the defensive. He would attack in flurries, darting in and out, forcing Tank to reset repeatedly. Tank, meanwhile, would remain calm, keeping a high guard and absorbing information. These early rounds would likely favor Pacquiao on points, as his activity and movement make it difficult for Tank to land cleanly. As the fight moves into the middle rounds, the danger increases significantly. Tank begins to adjust, timing Pacquiao's entries and exits more accurately. Body shots start to play a role, slowing Pacquiao's movement just enough to create openings. While Pacquiao may still land more punches overall, Tank's shots become heavier and more damaging. Momentum begins to shift, and every Pacquiao attack carries increasing risk. In the championship rounds, everything comes down to conditioning, discipline, and timing. If Pacquiao remains sharp and disciplined, he can continue to outwork Tank and secure a decision victory. However, if Tank lands one clean counter, especially a left hand as Pacquiao steps in or exits, the fight could end instantly. This matchup is unlikely to become a prolonged war. It either stays tactical or ends suddenly. For Pacquiao to win, he must maintain constant lateral movement, avoid exiting in straight lines, keep his punch volume high, and never admire his work after landing combinations. Any moment of pause could be disastrous. For Tank to win, patience is key. He must attack the body, time Pacquiao's flurries, and capitalize fully when the opening appears. One mistake from Pacquiao could be all Tank needs. So, who wins this fight? If this is prime Manny Pacquiao, his speed, volume, and relentless pressure likely overwhelm Tank Davis, leading to a decision victory or a late stoppage. But if this is a modern or slightly past prime Pacquiao, Tank Davis's power and timing likely result in a mid to late knockout. Either way, this is a high-risk, high-reward matchup with a dramatic outcome. Beyond styles or power, this fight is also a mental chess match. Manny Pacquiao has always fought with emotion, momentum, and crowd energy. He thrives when the pace is high and chaos favors his rhythm. The faster the fight moves, the more dangerous Pacquiao becomes. Tank Davis, on the other hand, is at his best when everything slows down. He is comfortable losing rounds if it means setting traps. That difference in mentality shapes how every round unfolds and explains why this matchup is so fascinating. Pacquiao's footwork would be a major factor early. Unlike traditional boxers who move in straight lines, Pacquiao darts at angles, often stepping outside his opponent's lead foot before throwing combination. Against Tank, this could disrupt defensive positioning and limit clean counter opportunities. Pacquiao would likely target Tank's guard with fast flurries, forcing him to block high while sneaking shots to the body and chest. Even if those punches don't hurt immediately, they build cumulative damage and keep Tank from fully setting his feet. Tank's composure under pressure would be tested heavily in the opening rounds. Pacquiao does not give opponents time to breathe. He forces decisions, demanding constant defensive awareness. However, Tank has shown throughout his career that he is comfortable absorbing early pressure if it means gaining valuable information. Each Pacquiao attack gives Tank data: how Pacquiao exits, how long he stays in range, and which side he favors after throwing combinations. Those patterns become critical later. As the fight progresses, the importance of body work cannot be overstated. Tank Davis is one of the most effective body punchers in modern boxing, especially against aggressive fighters. A single clean shot to the ribs or solar plexus can slow even the fastest opponent. If Tank can consistently touch Pacquiao's body in the middle rounds, Pacquiao's explosiveness begins to drop just enough to create danger. That slight decrease in speed could be the difference between slipping a punch and getting caught clean. Pacquiao's durability and heart would come into play as the fight deepens. Throughout his career, Pacquiao has shown an incredible ability to fight through adversity. He does not panic when clipped, and he often responds to danger with increased aggression. Against Tank, this instinct could either save him or cost him. Charging forward after being touched by a power punch might win him a round, or it might lead directly into a fight-ending counter. Another critical element is ring positioning. Tank Davis excels at subtly cutting off the ring, forcing opponents toward the ropes without obvious chasing. If Tank can limit Pacquiao's lateral movement and force exchanges near the corners, his power becomes far more effective. Pacquiao's best moments come in open space, where he can explode in and out. The smaller the ring feels, the more the fight shifts in Tank's favor. The question of stamina also plays a major role. Pacquiao is known for his incredible conditioning, especially in his prime, where he could maintain a high pace deep into fights. Tank's stamina has improved over time, but his style relies on bursts of explosive energy rather than constant output. If Pacquiao can force Tank to work defensively for extended periods, fatigue could become a factor. However, Tank only needs one moment of clarity to change the entire fight. Judging also becomes an interesting variable. Pacquiao's activity and movement tend to score well with judges, especially early. Tank's cleaner, harder shots may not always come in high volume, but they leave a visible impression. This creates a scenario where Pacquiao could be ahead on the scorecards while Tank remains extremely dangerous, increasing tension with every passing round. As the later rounds approach, the atmosphere of the fight would shift dramatically. Every Pacquiao attack would feel riskier, every Tank counter more threatening. The crowd energy would rise with each exchange, knowing the fight could end at any moment. This is where experience matters. Pacquiao has lived in these moments many times. Tank is still building his legacy in them. Ultimately, this fight does not have a boring outcome. If Pacquiao wins, it's through relentless pressure, superior footwork, and overwhelming volume that forces Tank into a defensive shell. If Tank wins, it's through precision, patience, and devastating power that punishes even the smallest mistake. There is no scenario where both fighters simply coast. That is what makes Pacquiao versus Gervonta Davis such a compelling debate. It's not about disrespecting eras or styles, it's about understanding how boxing evolves while fundamentals remain eternal. Speed fades, power lasts, but timing beats everything. And in this fight, timing decides. So the ultimate question remains: would Manny Pacquiao's speed and pressure be too much for Tank Davis? Or would Tank's power catch him at the perfect moment and end the fight in an instant? Boxing fans may never get a real answer, but debates will continue forever. Who do you think truly wins this dream matchup? Drop your prediction in the comments. Like the video if you love legendary fantasy fights, and subscribe for more elite boxing breakdowns.